100,000-mile warranty is a Bellbird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/6/22.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, Auburn, FC, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Rise and shine, campers. It's a brand new day.
What a lovely morning.
Good morning, starshine.
You seem happy this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in early.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local. Live from the J. Michael Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
As Coach James Hale would say, hit me! It's Friday. James Brown, Elvis, we are here. It is it's currently not raining, which is great. So if you want to play golf, get out there and play some golf right now. But as he seems to do more and more as we progress into this fall, Coach Hale is not here this Friday. I don't think he's going to be here next Friday.
No,
so I have the pleasure of talking to you all this morning again here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm joined, as always, on Friday by Jim Brandt, and then Jay Henley, who is our teaching professional at Bay Point Golf Club, joined us back in February. Glad to have you on the show this morning, Jay. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Ron. Glad to be here. Thank you.
So, obviously, you know, when I'm here on Fridays and Coach Hale is not, we avoid talking about that one school in the SEC West that begins with the letter A. And
Auburn?
Yeah, no, we always talk about Auburn. I got lots to talk about on Auburn today. But
Alaska University.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, sorry, Jason and Steverson Air Conditioning. We'll talk about you at 8, but we probably won't talk much about Alabama. So, great to be on the show this morning. A lot of fun stuff going on today. We'll talk about all sorts of good stuff. If anybody wants to call in, you know the number. It's 850-215-6290. Real quick, I know you guys were talking about before I walked in, it was the second annual Field of Dreams game was on last night, which if anybody ever has a chance to watch that, I even flipped it over on the TV, and Beth was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like when they show the aerial of the cornfield and all that stuff. So I love that they're doing that kind of stuff. I didn't catch the beginning of it. I'm assuming they all walked out like they did last year and all that.
Yeah, they had them come out of the corn, and it was kind of cool. I'm a Cleveland Guardians fan, but I'm from Ohio, so I'm familiar with a lot of Cincinnati Reds, and the Reds and the Cubs were playing. And Johnny Bench caught the first pitch. It was from Ferguson Jenkins, who was a Hall of Fame pitcher for the Cubs. And they had Ken Griffey Jr. They all walked out of the corn and everything at the start of the game. All the players were out there, and then they walked out. That was pretty cool. That was pretty neat.
That's awesome. Jay, did you see any of that last night?
I did not. I wish I would have, though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I was too busy. I was flipping back and forth between that and the Patriots the Patriots Giants preseason game.
I will not watch the Patriots.
Well, they lost.
As long as Bill Belichick is their coach, I will.
Yeah, it's Malik Willis got the other game was blacked out on the NFL Network, so you can only see the one. But I heard Malik Willis got a bunch of reps, about through 11 or so passes.
And who does he play for?
He plays for the Ravens, or no, Titans. Titans. Oh, we got a call already. Perfect.
All right. Is it Michigan Eddie?
Michigan Eddie did send me an email yesterday, so it could be him.
I thought you were watching Titanic last night.
I did. I was just about to talk about that.
You'll have to hold, sir.
All right, we'll keep going. Smitty's over there on the phone, but yeah, so some good preseason action, and then of course I'm excited tonight, as is Liam. The Niners play, ironically, the Packers tonight in a preseason game at 7:30 our time. So.
All right, now there's a connection now, Mr. 49er. I'm a Browns fan. You probably know by now. Deshaun Watson could be in some hot water. So if that happens, are they going to get Jimmy G? What's up with that?
Well, I know that. I mean, the Niners are going to – I think what will eventually happen is we got a caller on the line? All right, good morning. Who we got on the line this morning?
Is this Ryan Mulvey?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ryan, just one of your fans. I just want to call and say hello this morning.
Hey, thanks.
We're not doing Alabama updates. Sorry.
Aren't you supposed to be here? If you can call in, then you should be here.
No, I'm in the air right now. I'm flying my plane.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I have a question for Jim Brandt.
Go ahead, sweetheart.
Is he listening?
Huh?
Jim, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Did you get the GAC free cleanup at your house after the storm?
No, but I know a couple other people did.
Yeah, I didn't get mine either. Did we call in and bill them now or what?
There's a hotline.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
hotline.
there's a hotline.
I've got a whole nother
No,
story with that
no,
that I remember from after that I'm going to keep
this
quiet.
Is something else. This is sports related.
That's
You
Slick
gotta
Willie
talk
Jr.
about
right there.
Alabama at 8 o'clock because they just got another commit.
Yeah, who cares? Another
big
offensive lineman.
Hey.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Speaking of Alabama, did you see that receiver, that Ajayi Hall, whatever, got arrested?
Got arrested, yes.
Carrying on the
Yes.
fine Alabama wide receiver tradition. There you go.
Yes.
That must be how they're teaching them there.
Yeah.
You guys teach them
Anyway,
anything?
hey, thank you guys. You're doing a great job. I've enjoyed listening to you.
Hey,
Keep that Yankee talking.
thanks for leaving a sponsor sheet for me. I appreciate it. I asked for one
I'll send it to
thing.
you right. I'm gonna text it to you right now.
There you go. I'm trying to do it by
All
memory.
right,
Hey,
roll tide, brother. Roll
Wait.
tide.
Before you get off, hold on. I
Yeah.
was going to talk about it later, but there was a miracle that happened the other day, as he calls it, Club 72, but in Bar 72. I came over, him and Julie were eating. He paid for my lunch.
Oh,
What?
my God.
I know.
What? I'm out of here.
Now,
I know.
He
Hey,
fully expects to
showed
win
a sign of
at
weakness.
bingo next time.
Yeah.
This is quid pro quo here.
It is. It is. It's like what he was
Hey,
talking
I'm
about before.
actually a giving, loving, kind person. You all know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When is bingo
Oh,
again?
hey, Ryan, really, I called to tell you that we did have a caller, I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday, and they did want to hear something about golf, and so I said you would cover everything dealing with golf Friday. You'd have a lot on golf, so make sure you cover everything
I remember
going
that
on in the
call.
golf world.
Nope, I'm not talking about golf at all today.
We're talking about
Thank you
hockey.
very much.
Yeah, no, we got a lot to
Hey,
talk about at golf.
I got to go. I'm getting ready to land this plane, so I got to go.
You
Yeah,
aren't
that's
flying nothing. We all know that. Thanks
All
for
right,
calling in,
bye.
Coach. You're welcome. All right, getting back to it. Hopefully,
Jimmy G.
Yeah, so Jimmy G, yeah, I saw that came out the other day, and I think the Niners, I think they would be fine with cutting him as it goes all the way down because they need that salary cap room. But if they could get somebody to trade, that would be even better. But I heard, in that story and those rumors that if if Deshaun Watson, the appeal happens and he gets suspended for the whole season, the Browns could make a move to get Jimmy G on a 1-year contract.
Here's the thing. I think Jimmy G would probably be better than their other choices right
Yeah,
now.
Jacoby Brissett. Yeah.
But if you're Jimmy G, let's say Deshaun Watson gets a whole year. You know you're going to be a rental for 1 year,
Yeah.
and then they're going to cut you or trade you.
Yeah.
So would you be willing to do that? That's the thing. You know? That's
It's-
the whole thing.
Does he does he go to Cleveland and then whatever happens from there on out, or
Right.
does he try to, apparently there's not a lot. I don't think anybody wants to trade for him or give up anything for him right now. So I think a lot of teams are waiting to see if he gets cut and then try to
Right.
pick him up as a.
Well, who are the other 49ers quarterbacks? So they cut him. They got Trey Lance and who else?
They got Trey Lance. They still got number 7. I forget his name. He's been there for a couple years, and then they drafted a quarterback late in the draft this past year. I'd have to look it up and see what his name is. And then they signed another free agent a week or so ago. So, but a lot of good talks about Trey Lance, and I've been watching the camp stuff. And the Niners' defense this year is what I'm really looking forward to seeing because they're improved secondary, a lot of good stuff going on. So, and Debo re-signed, so we're excited about that. But so. A lot of stuff going on over at Bay Point. Coach distracted me since I got the mic this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about what we going on. Last night we had a Caribbean night, or Caribbean, however you say it. I have this argument with my wife all the time. I don't know which is the right way, but we had Caribbean night last night, which featured some oxtail, which was pretty cool. Everybody was a lot of good feedback on Caribbean night last. That was a new one for us. So T and Tess, 2 of our chefs, really knocked it out of the park. Tonight we've got some live music with Brady Hughes. He plays all over this area, and he's played with us before at Bay Point, but he's going to be playing from 5 to 8 p.m. tonight. Rain or shine, if it's not raining, we'll be out on the back patio. If it is raining, we'll be inside the restaurant. So a lot of that stuff going on. One thing we're very excited to announce is we are going to be getting back onto our regular greens here a week from today, 8/19, Friday the 19th. We've been doing some work on our greens for the last couple weeks, and we're excited to get back open on those. So we're relaunching our local player pass. So everybody listening out there, anybody in the 5 surrounding counties that has a driver's license or active military ID, you can pay a one-time registration fee, get you a free round of golf, and then you play for the rest of the year for discounted rates.
I bet you're the only person in this county that is loving all this rain we're getting.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Because
good for the
is it?
grass,
Yeah,
but
but
people don't play when it's raining.
Ah.
So
never thought of that.
Yeah,
part.
it's definitely a love-hate. Now, the rains we like are the ones that come at 8, 9 o'clock at night, dump
Yeah.
about 3/10 of an inch, and then it's nice and sunny in the morning. But yeah, the rain's good, but Nobody usually plays. No, we have some people play when it
I
rains.
was teasing James Hale about the bingo. So when's your next bingo night that James Hale's going to try to win?
Next bingo night that Jay Henley actually hosted our last bingo.
You're the bingo guy?
I'm the bingo guy.
All right. B-I-N-G-O. There you go.
Yep. They flock when they know Jay is coming. That's for sure.
I can understand that.
It was Coach Hale,
It's the tan.
Jay, and 72 other ladies.
There was no other men except James Hale.
I can't confirm or deny that, but it was probably the ratio is probably pretty close.
Yeah, it was 80-20.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, which is...
Anybody under the age of 80 besides James Hale?
Julie.
Oh, that's Julie. There you
and
go.
Jay was there. But no, our next bingo night is coming up on the 23rd. That's Tuesday, August 23rd. And then we got one more coming up in September. I believe that date is the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. So bingo coming up. Our local player pass is back. We've got a lot of big outings coming up. It's about to be that time of year. We're starting to see the big charity fundraisers. Speaking of that, we have the Toys for Kids, which is Chris Motes and all those people that have been doing the Toys for Kids organization has been going on for, I think this is their 25th year, but I think their 24th golf tournament. So that's been going on for a long time. That's coming up on the 10th of September. And then you may or may not have saw in the news, but the Abby and Baylor Kirchgessner Foundation, I don't know if you guys remember the kids that were killed at Coconut Creek a couple years ago. Their mom and dad, just brutal. He's actually a director of golf up in Kentucky, I believe, and he does a big fundraising tournament up there. But since that happened, this is going to be their second annual fundraising tournament here, and all the money they raise here out of that stays locally for books for kids. They've done like 20,000 books or something like that. So if you're looking for a couple golf tournaments to play in, I highly suggest supporting that Kirchgessner Foundation. It's pretty awesome. And then we've got a lot of stuff going on in Bar 72, or as Coach calls it, Club 72, which is a combination of the old name, Club 19, and the new name.
Can you get cloth there?
Yes. It's great cloth. Great cloth. I heard him talking about it on the radio earlier this week because he came out and visited me and got himself a few shirts. Of course, he didn't want to pay full price, but that's how it goes.
That's Coach.
Yep, that's Coach. So he actually got a Travis Matthews shirt that was a little more form-fitting. When Linda and I said, "Oh, that makes you look fit," he's like, "I'll take 2 of them." But he got a couple shirts. But we've got a lot of private parties we're starting to do in the restaurant. And Diego, Gary T, and the whole team over there is doing a great job. Anytime after 5 p.m. you want to host a private event, whether it's a birthday party, retirement party, any of that good stuff, we can host it there in the club for you, especially now that we have the back patio and a lot more room. So if you're looking for a place to do a Christmas party, just reach out to us. You can give us a call at the golf shop. It's 850-235-6950, or just check us out on Facebook or our website. So we're getting close to our first break. We'll talk about some more fun stuff. We'll talk about Jay, everything you've got going on at Bay Point with the junior golf, high school golf. I know, he's been talking a little bit to Glenn Manley over there at Bay. Now he's back as the AD, which is still... Is
Manley still playing golf now that he's the AD?
Well, I mean...
temporary AD? They
play golf at 7, and they're done by 8:45, so his golf really doesn't affect... I didn't say that. He's done by 11. No, they play quick. They play really, really quick, so it doesn't really affect his day, other than he probably's got to get a nap in there somewhere. So, but I'm still waiting for this sponsor list from Coach Hale, but
yeah,
I know a good bit of them off the top of my head. So we are obviously in the J. Michaels studio, and it is Friday over there at J. Michaels, which I believe is Chris Fish, which is the special. And then, of course, Blue Sky Express Car Wash. You can make the loop past, go get your car washed at Blue Sky, then drive up and see Jason Kovaleski at Max Fit Sports Nutrition. He's got all your nutrition needs if you're trying to get bigger, stronger, faster, whatever it may be. And then on your way back, you can stop by at Rudy's Barbecue for lunch, have some of that awesome turkey, brisket, barbecue. I know Ethan's getting excited about football season coming up here, the big Texas A&M Aggie that he is. So we will be right back here shortly. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Dan Patrick Show.
The Commanders traded for Carson Wentz. He's 29, and you would think at that age you'd have it all figured out. I don't think that's the case because the head coach of the Commanders, Ron Rivera, admitted that Wentz has experienced some accuracy issues throughout camp. Okay.
The Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Let's face it, nobody wants to deal with the hassle of replacing or repairing a roof. At Extreme Roofing and Construction, they help you avoid the headache so you can enjoy your roof stress-free. Extreme Roofing and Construction works with your HOA for approvals, permits, and even helps with insurance to get your roof repaired within 2 weeks. For over 20 years, Extreme Roofing and Construction has helped residential and commercial clients resolve their roofing needs quickly and efficiently. For more info or to book an appointment, visit ExtremeRoofingPros.com. License number CGC 151-186-1-CCC 132-9126.
College football isn't life and death. It's much more important than that. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michaels studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Johnny Cash.
Playing that one for Coach.
Yeah, you'll let that one run for a while. About 15 minutes.
Loop it.
And welcome back. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I am joined this morning by Jim Brandt and James Hale and Jay Henley. I am filling in for James Hale on this somewhat dreary Friday morning, but the beautiful thing about Florida, especially in the golf world, is if you wait 20 minutes, typically you can go back out and play again. I think we're actually going to try to – it's Chris Marchand's birthday today. Chris, if you're listening, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Last week we played last Friday from mine, so this week we had to make another tee time and play golf again this Friday, so who knows if we're actually going to get out there or not. And then, of course, we've got some live music tonight with Brady Hughes, but Jay Henley's joining us this morning. He is basically our director of player development for Bay Point Golf Club, our teaching professional, and does a lot of fantastic work with any age group, any gender, junior camps, ladies camps, private lessons, whatever it may be. But Jay, I know you got a big junior development program coming up this fall. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Yeah, I do. It starts actually the Tuesday after Labor Day, and it's going to basically be from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Tuesdays and 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays. And so what it is, it's $150 a month, and it's for ages 7 to 13. And I do have a few more spots available, so if you do want to go and get your child signed up, you can go to baypointgolfclub.com and click on the instructional tab, and you'll see my picture, and then you'll click on the link, and you can get signed up that way. But we have a lot of exciting things going on this fall. We had a great summer, and just continue to move forward and do great things.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, and also Gavin and Courtney, our golf professionals at the club, it was a busy, busy summer with instruction. You guys were out there. It was hot. You guys were out there for hours. The kids were learning golf, having fun, all that good stuff. So, like I tell everybody, high school golf is a little quiet right now. It seems like there's teams. There's not a ton of people in them. But I know in the next 3 or 4 years, when all these kids that you guys are working with and developing them into great golfers is really going to bode well for the future of high school golf in Bay County.
I agree, Ryan. I tell you, coming back from the Atlanta area, it's been great because I know how much you love the programming aspect of golf, and we've got a lot of great programs going on at Bay Point, and we're going to continue to grow. And I can really see in the next 3 or 4 years, like you said, the high school really developing. We're going to have some great kids come through the program, any high school in Bay County. So yeah, I'm excited as we move forward. And, just thinking back in previous years, there's a kid, Jack Henley. Back 5-6 years ago, he was in 7th grade.
Never picked up a club before.
Yeah, and I moved to Atlanta, come back and I see Jack and he tells me, he goes, Coach Jay, like I just signed for Huntington.
Yeah.
And, it's really cool to see that. But Jack was the one that always, after a clinic or after a private lesson, he was always practicing and always getting better. And that was the cool part about it was, seeing him, he didn't ever want to leave the driving range.
Yep.
And, so yeah, it's pretty cool to see him at Huntington this fall.
Yeah, that's awesome. You see a lot of other kids. I mean, and that's what's so cool. I mean, you get out of it what you put into it, just like anything else in life. And I just like golf so much because it's it's something you can do until you're 80, 90 years old. So why not get your kids involved in something obviously that's fun, especially how you go into golf. There you see so many, especially adults out there playing golf that just don't look like they're enjoying it. And that's not the point of the game. But getting kids involved in this lifelong sport, it just teaches you so much along the way too. Liam's starting to get a lot more involved in golf, and it helps with the other sports he plays in as well. So, but yeah, it's very impressive of what you guys are doing on the instructional standpoint. A lot of great stuff going on, and we hope to see. Yes, thank you, Smitty, very much. And yet, I know they're on a waiting list. Or no, this is the Fall Ladies League. So Courtney has got a junior camp going on as well, and I know she's on a waiting list currently. But something that she started. Her and Gavin, that's new as well, is their Fall Ladies League, which is really cool about this. That's very similar to the PGA, or not the PGA, but the Bay Point Junior League that we did. It runs from August 28th through October 23rd, and it's going to feature instruction followed by a 6-hole team scramble. So kind of taking the playbook of the Junior League that works so well because it's a great introduction into golf. You're getting instruction, you're learning all the fundamentals, but you're also learning how to play on the golf course. And that's something that, a lot of people see as intimidating when they go out there and play, especially when you see beginners and ladies and they think, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself. You're never going to embarrass yourself on a golf course. And the beautiful thing is usually everybody else is in the same boat as you are. So that intimidation factor I know is a tough one for a lot of people to get past, but once you get past that and you get out there, you have fun, you have some beverages, you're hanging out with your friends, you're in nature. Bay Point's such a beautiful golf course as well. The scenery, the birds, the gators, all the fun stuff that you can see out there. We don't have very many gators, but we have a few floating around.
Do you volunteer to remove them when you find them?
I like having them out there. As long as they're not very big, and they're not going to bother you unless you're walking your little Yorkie right down by the pond bank, which you shouldn't be out there walking your Yorkie by our pond bank anyway.
How about walking a corgi with that?
Yeah, well, the speed of the corgi may not be able to get away, but no, I think that adds. I mean, we're in Florida.
Yeah,
we really don't have very many alligators around here compared to a lot of other places in the state. So
there's a couple of them at the airport.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a video of me walking up on the one that was there for 2 years, about 4.5 foot long, and in the background you see the ass end of the vehicles that are sitting in the parking lot up there by Shelter.
Yeah,
the little private
exactly
airport.
Yep.
He was there forever. Broke my heart when they came and wrangled him out of there.
Yeah, you just hope they bring him to somewhere else where they're having fun, enjoying.
Yeah,
their
and not
lives.
make shoes out of him.
Yeah, exactly. Shoes and belts. And maybe wearing a Nile crocodile belt at them, but that's a different continent, so we're okay there. But yeah, the junior golf stuff, and I know you're a little bit involved with the high school golf this year.
I am.
A lot. Tell us a little bit about that. A lot of new coaches, a lot of first-time coaches in Bay County, right?
Yeah, a lot of mix-up, I guess. Ryan Zim, he moved over to I think Fort Walton.
Yeah.
Paul from Shark's Tooth is now over at Arnold High School. So yeah, it's a big, kind of a mix-up, but it's going to be a great season. I've been in contact with all the coaches. I'm going to be the coach at Bay High School this year, and we're going to have a young team, but we're just going to keep building upon that. And so yeah, we've already got matches scheduled out at Bay Point Holiday. So yeah, we're excited. And if you are listening and you have a child that goes to Bay High School that may be interested in playing golf, we do have a meeting at 3:00 today, right after school in the lunchroom at Bay High. So if you're listening and have a child there, would love to have them.
You just answered my question. I was going to ask you. So Conrad Moon, he's not involved with Bay High golf anymore?
Now, he retired, I want to say it was last spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
He retired, or this. I know they had a big retirement party for him and all that stuff. And what people don't realize, what he did for golf, he basically organized everything in the entire county. He was also the liaison with the state for the district, all those tournaments. So he put together the schedules, lined up all that stuff. But I know, Jay, and kudos to you, kudos to Paul, a head pro over at Shark's Tooth, for getting involved with the high school golf and making sure it keeps going, is because that's exactly what it needs to do. And, big shout out to Holiday Golf Club for also hosting some matches. There's nothing that you don't really get anything financially out from hosting golf matches other than that building.
And all
that
the high schools in Bay County have a golf team? Like Bozeman, do they have a golf team?
It's funny you mentioned that. I've been talking to Jordan up at Bozeman, and this is their first year, creating a program. So I think.
I didn't think they did.
Yeah, and I think up 77, you don't really have a golf course up that way. So I think physically they're trying to figure out where to practice, and different things like that. But golf is really just booming right now, and it has in the last few years. And I'm just excited to be a part of it, and it's been a big part of my life for so many years. And it's just great. It's just a great sport, like Ryan said. Just you use your mind, you use your body. And it just helps in so many aspects. So,
it's a great parallel to life. I mean, you learn, you can hit a great golf shot and have a terrible result, or you could hit a terrible golf shot and have a great result, just like life. All the breaks you get, and it's how you react to that and how you keep going forward that, is great about the sport. And everything you've already done, you've already hit, it's all in the past.
That's
so
right.
you just keep on moving forward. But yeah, if anybody's interested in getting their child in golf, I encourage doing it as young as possible, to a certain degree. After they're 6 or 7 years old and the motor skills are a little more developed, get your kids, just get them swinging a club, just try to get them to make contact with that golf ball. And you brought up an interesting point too. After Hurricane Michael, obviously our supply of golf courses in this area went down pretty significantly.
Right.
So it's kind of up to the golf courses that are remaining to try to host as much of this as they can, because they're fairly close. But you've got Mosley and you've got North Bay Haven as well. I don't know if Rutherford has a team. They have had teams. Do they have a team again this season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's Rutherford playing out of?
Right.
I grew up playing, you grew up playing junior golf, and, you had a driving range to go practice at. You practiced 2 or 3 days a week. You went out and played, and then you had your matches. But, down here, that's a real challenge for growing high school golf in this area, boys and girls, is just the availability of places to play and practice. There's only so many. So
well, it's changed so much because, there's actually, when we, programming is so big, like what I talked about, and it's just, I remember growing up, and I'm going to tell my age here, but I was 6 years old in 1986, and I was at I grew up in Savannah, Georgia, and I remember going to a junior golf camp then, and, the golf pro just dumped out a bunch of golf balls and said, "Hey, look, I'll see you in a couple of hours," and that doesn't happen today. I mean, you can't do that, and you don't want to. You want to be able to teach a fundamental to a kid. You want to teach them golf etiquette, and teach them.
Cussing and throwing clubs.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So there's so many aspects to it other than just the golf lesson in itself. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Development is key. I mean, it's just like any sport, you got to develop them and learn everything. But yeah, golf is different because, it's not just hitting balls on the driving range and learning the actual technique and fundamentals of the game. It's all the other things that come with it. What happens when you hit it in a water hazard? What happens when you hit it in a bunker? How do you hit it there? But it's all fun. It's not as complicated as it can be made out to see, and the guys and girls on TV play it at such a ridiculous level that just don't ever have those kind of expectations.
That's right.
Just try to hit it straight, hit it again, and try to get it in that hole. So,
Yeah.
But a lot of good stuff going out there at Bay Point Golf Club. Our pros and Jay, you guys do a wonderful job. It's when you came back in, I had kind of a vision of where I wanted it to go, and you guys have taken it and really brought it even further. So,
well, thanks, Ryan. I want to give a shout out just to the staff because I've had a number of members from Atlanta come down and get golf lessons with me in the last 6 months, and it always starts with the outside staff, and I can't tell you how many people have come up to me after a golf lesson and said, "Hey, look." The staff was great. They met me with a golf cart. They grabbed my clubs from me, and they showed me to the driving range and all that. So I think it always starts right there in the parking lot at Bay Point, and I've got to give a big shout out to all the staff at Bay Point. So it all starts there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, they do a wonderful job, and thank you for recognizing them. All right, we got another break coming up. A couple of quick sponsors we'll thank. I know Chuck Tucker at South Oak Title. I know my wife has used South Oak Title many a time for closing. They are by far the best in this area. And then, of course, over there by Bay Point, you've got Paparazzi Gourmet Deli and Pizza. Big John does a fantastic job. That food over there is just so good. And then one of my favorite places as well, they're members of the club, but Dat Cajun Place. You can't beat Dat Cajun Place, especially what Trudy and Jan do for this community. Talking about the two of us, they donate so much money to organizations and get involved, so they do a fantastic job, so we can't thank them enough. But you're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Redneck. Okay, I don't want to hear that word. It's an ugly word. It hurts people's feelings.
It's a hateful, shameful word.
It's a shameful word. So, Mike, use a different word.
Sorry, I'm
when
proud
dealing
of
with
it.
us.
I'm proud of it.
Okay, let's use unsophisticated cotton picker.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! That means those pregame barbecues with an ice-cold Pepsi, totally back. Your perfectly placed football-watching corner seat, back and comfy as ever. 18 Sundays of touchdown scoring, Hail Mary throwing, ice-cold Pepsi flowing football action. You better believe it's back. And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. And when we say always, we mean always. Like when your lawn is looking less like a lawn and more like a jungle. If the game's on, then the lawnmower ain't. And those gutters you haven't cleaned, today is not their day. Or maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
Great design is timeless, and that's why Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves offers a stunning selection of vintage, antique, estate jewelry on sale now at 40% off. Exquisite Victorian rings, Art Deco diamond brooches, Georgian and Art Deco bracelets, earrings, and pendants. These one-of-a-kind pieces add personality to any ensemble, and now at 40% off. Find your timeless treasure at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves.
The number one SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show inside the J. Michaels Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I am joined by Jim Brandt and Jay Henley from Bay Point Golf Club. I'm filling in for Coach James Hale this morning on this kind of dreary Friday morning, but it's Florida, so the weather goes in and out, and just wait a few minutes and it'll be sunny here in a second. So, we were talking a little bit about off the air. You guys mentioned a caller early in this week. Maybe they're listening. They can give us a call here at 215-6290. Talk a little bit about the PGA Tour and the Live Golf Tour. I kind of walk the line between both tours. You've heard me talk about it before. I love the parity. There's a lot of things behind the scenes going on, but more people are talking about golf than ever. So a few things that just wanted to, you got the PGA Tour, the playoffs going on right now, which, don't seem to have as much gusto as they've had in the past just because of everything else going on. But you had your first round yesterday at the FedEx Cup, the St. Jude Classic up there at TPC Southwind in Memphis. The playoffs are cool because they start. You gotta be in the top 125 to make the first event, and then after this event, it gets cut down to the top 70 in the FedEx Cup standings that play over at the BMW Championship, which I think is at a new course in Delaware this year. Which I don't know if that has anything to do with our current regime, but anyway. And then after that tournament, as always, the Tour Championship is up there in your neck of the woods at East Lake in Atlanta with the top 30 golfers, which. If you ever want to go to a tour event, whether it's a major or not, I've been to the Tour Championship a few times. it's a fantastic event to bring your kids to, just because there's only 30 golfers playing. There's not that many people there watching. You can get up close and personal with these guys, and it's also, you got one guy trying to win $10 million to win the FedEx Cup. So what's interesting, a couple years ago, they changed the format going into that Tour Championship. It used to be everybody would be at the same number, and if it was all these crazy point systems and all this stuff that nobody could understand. And it was either last year or a couple years ago, they changed it to, if you're first in the FedEx Cup standings, you start at 10 under par before you even tee off. And then if you're second, you're at 8, third, you're at 7, 4, you're at 6, fifth, you're at 5. If you're 6th through 10th, you're at 4 under, 11th through 15th, you're at 3 under, 16th through 20th, you're at 2 under, 21st through 25th, you're at 1 under, and if you're 26th through 30th in the FedEx Cup standings, you start at even par, which I actually thought was pretty cool, because you deserve something for leading the FedEx Cup going into the final round. So what did you think about when they made that move, Jay?
No, I think it's great. It gives everybody a chance. I think before that there was really no chance for that 28th through 30th place or whatever to get. Yeah, so. It makes for a good 4 days of golf, and like you said, it's a great place to take a child, or like to go to a major. I mean, it's not a major tournament, but one of the 4 majors. But it is definitely a great tournament to go to. But yeah, I do like it.
Let me ask you a question. I'm not a golfer at all. My brothers were, but I'm not. You want to go to a PGA event or a Live Tour? Let's say PGA. How much does it cost to get in? And can you follow a player along as they play, or do you get in one fairway and just stay there? What's the protocol etiquette for how much does it cost, and how do you do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it all depends. Like if you go to a U.S. Open, it's going to be a little more. What's awesome about the Masters tournament, I'll speak to the Masters. Everybody always talks about this. The Masters is a lottery to get tickets. So first you got to get selected, but even then, they're not very expensive. I think face value on a day badge is like $60.
Ain't bad.
But then their prices at the Masters too are so cheap. But the amount of money they're making from IBM and their sponsors for the tournament is astronomical. But if you just want to go to a regular tour event, a lot of people go to the Heritage over there at Harbortown in Hilton Head. That's just one big party. But yeah, you could follow a golfer from the first tee all the way to the 18th green if you wanted to. Because there's ropes around every hole. You spectate. You can pretty much go most places except within the playing.
I wasn't sure what the etiquette was of those.
Yeah, so I mean, you see a lot of people will do that. I mean, if a lot of people go to the Masters or Augusta National for the first time, they'll just walk the course just to see the course. So, and then you've got grandstand. There's a lot of strategic stuff, but I mean, a PGA Tour event, relatively, compared to other sporting things, probably for a family of 4 versus going to like an NFL game for a family of 4 is probably an eighth of the price or something like that.
Right.
A ticket for a day is probably $25-$40. And then just depending on the venue, depending on the state, you see some beer prices and stuff like that can get pretty crazy. But great question, because it's watching golf in person, watching these guys and girls, especially standing right down the line, watching them hit tee shots and stuff like that. That sound and the ball coming off the club, you really can't see that anywhere else besides what they're doing. The TVs just don't do it any justice. So, but yeah, the Tour Championship in Atlanta is always a fun one to go watch, because one, it's a cool golf course, and then they flipped the 9s a couple of years ago too, so which I love that now you're coming up that the par 5 that used to be the 9th. I always hated that they were finishing on a par 3 before, so I thought that was beautiful that they flipped that.
Absolutely.
The Live Tour obviously is here to stay. They've already announced their season next year. There's been a lot of stuff going on between the PGA Tour and the Live Tour. I know a few players filed a lawsuit to get a temporary restraining order so they could play in the FedEx Cup, which I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think they decided to leave the tour. They knew what was going to happen if they left the tour, so to try to get back in, I think is kind of silly. But there's a lot of other things that are going to have to be figured out. The antitrust, the monopoly. So the story is not done by any stretch of the imagination. And the latest player to make that jump to the Live Tour, although he's not doing it until after the FedEx Cup is done. And I don't think he's actually announced it. I think somebody's just reported on it. But Cam Smith, who won the Open Championship last month in July, he's announced that he's going to be joining the tour. He hasn't announced. It's been reported that he's joining the tour and was offered $100 million to go over there and play, and potentially Cameron Young as well. So a lot of people have been talking about how the Live Tour is like the older golfers in their 30s and 40s that have been around for a little while, Well, if Cam Smith and Cameron Young go over there and play, that kind of shifts that demographic a little bit. So you've got this competition right now between both tours. And speaking of competition, I don't know if anybody saw yesterday. I don't know if Scotty Scheffler ever spoke on it or anything like that, but him and Cam Smith were playing together yesterday because they're ranked number 1 and 2. And supposedly, I mean, it looks like he did. And Scotty Scheffler is obviously, he's number 1 ranked golfer in the world. He's leading he's won, I don't know how many tournaments. I think he's won 4 tournaments this year, a couple majors. He walked in Cameron Smith's line. That's what it looks like anyway, that he walked. And when you say walk in somebody's line, if I got my ball here and the hole is where Jay is, it's you just don't walk across the green in between that.
That's the golf etiquette we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and somebody I had posted about it, of course, because I love the controversy. Somebody had said, well, maybe he just forgot. And I thought, PGA Tour players do not forget. No. That's like junior golfers don't forget that kind of stuff.
That's like a coach walking out onto the field during a play and going, "Oh, I didn't know couldn't cross that line there."
Exactly. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if Scheffler has had a press conference or said anything about it, but thought that was kind of funny. Cam Smith reported to be leaving for the LIV Tour, number 2 in the FedEx Cup, maybe number 2 in the world. I'm not sure. And Scotty Scheffler walks right across his line. So I thought that was
that's pretty funny.
Which in golf, golf's got this stigma of etiquette and
gentlemen
and all this stuff. And then, the LIV Tour is kind of flipping that script a little bit with these giant concerts and the champagne at the end and all this stuff. So, and then you see that happen in
the punk rock of golf.
Yeah, the redheaded stepchild for sure. But I thought I was doing some research yesterday about the money and all this stuff. And just to kind of compare, the LIV Tour has had 3 events so far this year. And obviously the LIV Tour is a little bit different format. It's a 54-hole event where you're playing individual and team at the same time. So this prize money is both team as well as individual. But it has nothing to do with their contract that they signed and the money they were given to come over and do it. But just real quick, the top 10 money winners right now on the LIV Tour, 3 events they've played. Peter Uihlein has won $2.16 million. Louis Oosthuizen has won $2.817 million. Again, this has nothing to do with the money they were paid to join the tour. Taylor Gooch has won $3.403 million. Carlos Ortiz has won $3.425 million. I don't know who this Plessis guy is. I think he was a European Tour or an Asian Tour guy. He's won $3.53 million. Patrick Reed has won $3.75 million. Henrik Stenson, who's only played in 1 event, is number 4 on the LIV Tour money list as he won $4.375 million it was either last week or the week before. Dustin Johnson has won $5.212 million. Charles Schwartzel has won $5.491 million, and then Brandon Grace from South Africa is leading it with $6.918 million, which that $6.918 million would put him 4th right now on the PGA Tour money list. And that's the guy that's 4th on the PGA Tour money list is Sam Burns. He's played in 21 events. So that just shows you how different. Now there's guys that are finishing last and, making, a couple $1 million or whatever it may be, or a couple $100,000. But Scotty Scheffler, he's won $13.176 million in 22 events, and he's won 4 of them, and 2 of them were majors, the Masters and something else.
But Ryan, didn't the PGA Tour a few weeks ago come up with the 8-week fall series, and they've added a little bit of money to the purse?
It's very funny how they just created this different little series that'll be.
By the way, did we tell you about this?
Yeah, they just magically pulled this money out of nowhere and said, "All right," but I don't know. It's just funny.
Which will help. I think it will help the RSM Classic over at Sea Island.
Yeah.
I think it's going to bring
fall events that don't usually get a lot of popularity and a lot of people playing in them.
Yeah.
Which is where Chase Seifert really got his big break, was over there, which is pretty cool. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I mean those numbers are, and again, that has nothing to do with what they've been paid to go over there. And I know you asked off the break the figure about Tiger, but somewhere between 700 and 800 million just to join the tour, because that's the kind of draw that he has. But he can't step away from the PGA Tour. He is the face of the PGA Tour. Right. He is the face of golf, and for him to do that, a lot of people say that would really taint his legacy. And plus, he's got so much money anyway; he doesn't need a whole ton of stuff. So, but if anybody wants to talk some more about golf, LIV Tour, give us a call later on in the show. We'll be moving to a break here real quick, but we want to thank some of our great sponsors. I know on Wednesday I was listening on my way into work. Dr. Ward If it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, go get it checked out. Dr. Ward and his group has offices all over the Panhandle to check out. Skin cancer is a thing you don't want to mess with, especially if you're a golfer, if you've been playing golf your whole life, you've been outside your whole life, and you may or may not put on as much sunblock as you probably should have. Go see it. Go get it checked out. If it's found early, that is the best way to do it. And then another doctor who's been on the Bay County sidelines, I think you guys always say for 35 years, Dr. Chad Mitchell, who I've went and seen myself.
No, not 35, but when Arnold opened in 2000, he was there, so it's at least 22.
Gotcha.
It's been a long time.
He's been on those Bay County sidelines for a long time, helping out all these wonderful athletes here in Bay County. We will be back in just a moment. You are listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves country.
This one's going supersonic.
Hi, this is Ron, the grand prize winner of the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for this trip of a lifetime, and congratulations to ESPN Northwest Florida for 5 years of broadcasting history and bringing us the Atlanta Braves.
Let's face it, nobody wants to deal with the hassle of replacing or repairing a roof. At Extreme Roofing and Construction, they help you avoid the headache so you can enjoy your roof stress-free. Extreme Roofing and Construction works with your HOA for approvals, permits, and even helps with insurance to get your roof repaired within 2 weeks. For over 20 years, Extreme Roofing and Construction has helped residential and commercial clients resolve their roofing needs quickly and efficiently. For more info or to book an appointment, visit ExtremeRoofingPros.com. License number CGC 1511861-CCC1329126.
It's the cooling season, and time to call Steverson Air Conditioning for your preventative maintenance to keep your air conditioning system operating at full capacity. Steverson Air Conditioning has preventative maintenance programs, and they service all makes and models. Steverson Air Conditioning offers air duct cleaning. Steverson Air Conditioning has after-hours service and free estimates on a system change-out or duct cleaning. Call them at 248-1109.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs, with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5, and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Reach out, call up and just say hi. Give them a call. Phone lines are open. 850-215-6290. The Coach James Hale Show is taking your calls live and local from the J. Michael Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We are here this morning. I am joined by Jim Brandt, Jay Henley, and just came through the door is James Tipton and Scooter in the house.
That's
Looking
a big
good,
dog.
Scooter. Looking good. So we are. I'm filling in for Coach James Hale this morning, and I think I'll be doing the same thing next Friday as well. So, but it is 7:45. So the big first, well, not the big first game. Actually, the first game is against Duquesne, but that second game coming up against LSU is kind of the talk of the town right now. But what's going on in the world of FSU football?
All right. Well, this time of year, the two things that are going on as far as college football is practices or two-a-days, like we used to call them, although I don't think they do two-a-days anymore, and recruiting. They just had their their first scrimmage rather this past Saturday. They're going to have another one, I think, tomorrow. They're going to try to get it into Doak. Last time they were lightninged out. I got a big old service dog right next to me. The dog is huge. Cute, though.
She says, I want to.
That's my replacement there, the producer. The new producer of the show.
Yep. She's good.
I lost my thought. Oh, and recruiting. And Florida State just got a big defensive lineman in the last day or two. His name's Tavion Gadsden. He's from Savannah, Georgia. He's 6'4", 280. He's a 3-star. But we talked about stars before a lot, how many stars you get. That to me is no indication of how good the person could be. Because as soon as they go to start getting attention, start getting sniffs from the big-timers, then they get more stars. So the fact that he's a 3-star to me doesn't really make much difference. 6'4", 280. That's a pretty good start, defensive lineman. And you talk about, who they're playing. They start off with Duquesne, which they'd never played before. But I looked up the overall records of all the other teams that they're playing this year, and their all-time record versus those teams. And of the other, about 10 teams that they're going to play, well, they haven't played Louisiana either, so throw them out. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of the other 9 teams, they have a winning record all time against every one of those teams. So I'm just going to run this down, what their record is versus these other teams. Against LSU, we talked about this about a week ago. They're 7-2 all time against LSU. I'm talking about Florida State. Versus Louisville, or Louisville, as some people say.
Or as Coach Hale says,
Louisville. They're 16-6. Versus Boston College, they're 14-5. All right, Wake Forest is no surprise. They're 38-1. North Carolina State, they're 27-15. This is all time now. Clemson, this kind of surprised me. They're 20-14 versus Clemson, even though as good as Clemson's been lately. Georgia Tech, they're 14-11. Now, I kind of
that's a little surprised, but I know Georgia Tech used to be much more of a powerhouse.
I misspoke because the last 2 of the last 3 on their schedule, they have losing records against. Okay, against Miami, they're 31-35 all time. And then they have Louisiana, as James would say, Louisiana. And then they play Florida, who they're 26-37-2 against. So, 2 of their big time rivals are the ones that have given them the most trouble, which is really no surprise to anyone. But that kind of surprised me that they got a winning record against everybody else. You got to remember now they had Bobby Bowden for forever, racking up them wins. And then just on a whim, this really surprised me. I said, well, who are the teams that they've played 10 or more times that they have a losing record all time against? And of course, you got 2 of them. You got Miami and Florida. I already said those. But here are the other 3 that they have losing records against. You'll like the first one. They have a losing record versus Auburn. 5-13-1. I did not know that.
Wow.
So Auburn's really done a good job against that. That really surprised me. It's like, wow. They don't play that often. I thought for sure that Florida State would have beat them the most. Here's the one of everything I've done. This is the biggest surprise. This is all time versus Florida State. The University of Houston has beaten Florida State 13 times. Florida State is 2-13-2 versus Houston.
That's bizarre.
Can you believe that? It's like the University of Houston.
The Cougars. You gotta watch out for them.
Yeah, go Cougs. And then here's the other one. They've only played 10 times, but it's kind of a surprise. They were 4-6 versus Pitt. So there's 5 teams in all the history of Florida State football. They have losing records against. That's Auburn, Florida, Houston, Miami, and Pittsburgh. So that kind of surprised me. The Houston and Pittsburgh one really, really surprised me.
And Pittsburgh used to be in the Big East, right?
They were too.
Oh, yeah.
They were too for a long time. That's why they went, so they could get a lot of wins, want to stay out of the SEC, which is probably a good thing. So I don't know. We've talked a lot about, is it Florida State going to go in the SEC? Are they going to go in the Big Ten? What's going to happen to them? And they're going to have to do something because I don't know if you guys talked about it in the last month or so. They went to that 5-3-3 format, and Florida State's going to have the same. They're going to have 3 permanent opponents, and they're going to be Clemson, Miami, and Syracuse, and all the ones are going to rotate. But if that all gets changed with the super conferences, like everybody's talking about, I don't know how that's going to affect recruiting, or not recruiting, but scheduling rather. So we'll see. So, what's your take on that? Because the University of Houston really surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot of history on Houston. Maybe they were. They've been decent the last few years, but maybe they had a good run there for a little while. Maybe it was early on. I don't know, but that's very surprising.
Yeah.
Surprising that they've even played Houston. Looks like 17 times in their history.
Times.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Well, back in the day, Houston, they're the ones that kind of invented the veer offense.
Gotcha.
It was called the Houston veer. And Bobby Bowden ran it, too, at the University of West Virginia before he came to Florida State. So maybe there's some connection there. Got his butt beat a few times. So I better run this offense.
Put it in, yeah.
But,
well, it's gonna be interesting to see here come in a few weeks. I know they got that Week 0 game against Duquesne, which I know a lot of people talking about. Is that positive for Florida State, or is that negative that they have a game to start out before LSU? Is that an advantage for Florida State?
I think it's an advantage. Because Florida State's got the their quarterback coming back, and he's going to have one game under his belt. And I just saw one of LSU's quarterbacks. I don't know if he's a starter or not.
Hurt his ankle or something?
Yeah, rolled his ankle, just got hurt. So I don't know if that's going to affect Florida State or not. But I think it's an advantage to always play one game before you got to play an opponent that's good, essentially in their backyard. You know, whether they're playing in the Superdome, you know.
Yeah.
That's going to make it tough. But they got 30,000 Florida State fans going there, so that surprised me too that they sold out that many.
I wouldn't want to be in New Orleans that night.
Yeah, it's going to be wild,
especially after the game. But yeah, that's going to be one of the fun games of that week to watch for sure.
That'll be a fun game.
I think it's going to set the tone too for both LSU and Florida State. I mean, whoever comes out and wins that game is going to be moving in the right direction.
And the other thing we always consistently talk about here is what does Mike Norvell got to do to win, or to keep his job? Because he's 8-13 the last 2 years at Florida State. And, man, you look back in their history, there's not many coaches that survived a third season when you've only won 8 games in 2 years.
Yeah, this is his. I mean, I'm sure he was still using what's-his-face's players for Taggart's players for a couple of years, which is probably one of the biggest challenges you could face as a coach. But, this is his year. He's got a lot of his players. Right. It would go a lot for FSU and the fan base and his comfortability of being the coach if they could get it done in Baton Rouge. Not in Baton Rouge, in New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
But yeah, I mean the game against Duquesne will be a nice warm up for him for sure. It's Jordan Travis, right? He's still the starter. He shouldn't have a lot of pressure. You wouldn't think. With the defensive line and linebackers of Duquesne going up against FSU's offensive line. So hopefully he can get a lot of good reps and not take any hits because I'm sure it'll change drastically when he plays LSU. But also anything it's almost like a little preseason game for him to work out the kinks and any issues they see they might be able to figure out. So, Jay, what do you think about the FSU LSU game in week? I guess is it week 2? Is it week 2 or is it technically week 1? Yeah, it's
the second game of the season.
Yeah.
Home field advantage, I guess, right, for LSU. I know you said 30,000 fans, Florida State fans heading over there, but I don't know. I kind of like LSU. We'll see, but. I try to follow the dogs as much as I can. Go dogs.
Yeah,
sick them.
We got a lot of people out there that want a Georgia update. So yeah, we got a caller in line. All right, good morning. Who is this with us?
Hello.
You there? Good morning.
You there, caller?
All right, we'll try to get him back, or give us a call back, 215-6290. We'll get you on the show, hear what you got to say. Maybe it was Mike.
No, it was somebody else who had a correction.
Oh, good.
Don't know about what, because I cut him off. Don't call me up and correct me. I'll cut you off. No, I didn't do that on purpose, I promise.
Well, give us a call back. But, yeah, it's Brian Kelly's first game. There's always something about the your first game as a new coach. And, I know Coach Hale speaks highly of Brian Kelly and what he's going to do at LSU, but it's a huge game for him too. I mean,
there's no question.
He's got to set the tone. He's got to show the fan base what he's bringing to the table. Obviously, Ed Orgeron had a great national championship win that one year. Reminds me a little bit about like Gene Chizik when he was at Auburn. He had that one great year,
right.
And then a couple years later he's out. Yeah. So
exactly.
You got a super team once, and you make it happen. But
and what's the connection between Chizik and Kelly? Not Kelly, but Orgeron. They had great quarterbacks, and just that one year sensation come in there and just set the world on fire.
Yep. Joe Burrow and
Joe Burrow.
Jamaro Chase, and it was Jefferson on that team too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Edwards Hilaire.
That was like watching a flag football game out there when they were playing
players.
everybody. Yeah, they just run deep posts and corner posts and score a lot of points. But
that's what they did.
So yeah, I think that's going to be a great game. And FSU. I mean, if they would have won that Notre Dame game last year, and I was at that game with the family, and that if they would have got that done, I think the season's completely different.
Right.
And that's how important that first big game of the season is, setting the tone, just like Georgia and Oregon.
Right.
Although Georgia on paper, everybody's got them picked second in the SEC, but lost a lot of players on defense. But Oregon's coming in there with Bo Nix. But
they got Bo Nix, and where's that game being played?
I mean, it's basically a home game.
Yeah,
again,
it's a home
kind of
game.
like
It's in
New Orleans.
Atlanta?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay.
Just got to make the hour trek from Athens to
That's
Atlanta.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
That'll be another fun game. I don't know if that's the second week or what, but that's going to be a great football game.
Week 1.
Week
Yeah,
one.
week
The
one.
real week
The
one.
real week
yeah.
one.
Yeah, the
All
real
these
week
week 0
real
games is
week
very
one.
confusing, but all right, we are coming up against a break. It won't be the Alabama update, but if anybody wants to call in and talk Alabama football, I guess we'll oblige and do that. But when we come
I'm gonna
back,
cut you
we'll be joined by James Tipton with the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance. And just real quick, want to thank some of our great sponsors. We talked about it earlier in the show. You can kind of make the Coach James Hale sponsorship loop out there on the beach. If you just start heading west, you can go by Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Fantastic car wash. It's if you've never been there, your car comes out looking showroom ready, as Coach Hale always says. But after you go to Blue Sky Express Car Wash, you can go see Jason Kovaleski at Max Fit Sports Nutrition for all your nutritional and supplement needs. And he always has great local discounts, military discounts. And, of course, you can try it before you buy it. Coach Hale usually tries the whole bottle before he buys it. And then swinging back by, coming back east, you can swing by Ethan and Rudy's Barbecue. They do a great job with all their food, but also just really well involved in the community. They get a lot. They were helping Arnold High School out and all sorts of stuff. So kudos to our sponsors who get involved in the community and help out. We're coming up against the 8 o'clock hour. We will be right back. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Mac Jones looks uncomfortable. Real struggles in camp. And this organization now, in an offensive pivoting league, they just don't have any playmakers. Mac Jones isn't Lamar Jackson. He's not Justin Herbert. Like, there are limitations to what he can do. So what he needs is support and help.
The Herd, weekdays 11 to 2 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Friday morning. Changeable skies expected today, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll have some sun, some clouds, a few showers and thunderstorms each day. The high each day, mid to upper 80s, and partly to mostly cloudy overnight. The overnight temperature around 75, chance of a shower thunderstorm. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Let the adventures begin in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 3.49% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and write your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We make buying a car easy and give you the peace of mind that you can trust.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/6/22.
From the Florida Panama line to the Gulf of Mexico. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida. Put down your natural light. It's time for the Alabama Update. The Alabama Update, weekday mornings at 8. On the Coach James Hale Show in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Alabama update.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. None of us are going to say those two words that begin with R and T. So if you want to do it, call us in and you can say a
Coach is going to call in and do it. Watch and see.
He called in earlier, said he was on a plane, which we all know that isn't
That's
the
a
truth.
lie.
Has he ever flown in his entire life?
I think he had to in college. But since then, since I've known him, which goes back to 1990, no, there's no air travel on his resume. None.
That's
Zero.
crazy. That's absolutely crazy, but not surprising given the quirkiness
James, how you ever
of
going to
Coach
get to
James
Hawaii?
Hale.
There's no train to Hawaii, man.
He's going to have to take a boat. But your Alabama Update is always sponsored by Steverson Air Conditioning. If you're looking for a new unit, need to be serviced 24/7, I've used Steverson at my own house. Jason and his crew do a fantastic job. They always answer the phone. They're quick on their response. So if you're looking for a great HVAC company to service, get a new unit, whatever it may be, reach out to Steverson Air Conditioning. Well, as I mentioned before we went to the break, we are joined now by James Tipton from the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance, which, if you haven't listened to the show before, you may not know what that is, but I'll give a quick introduction to it, then I'll let you run with it, Tip. But about 5 weeks ago, we got our clinics started, but this has been something that you've been trying to get going for many, many, many years. And the beautiful thing about the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance is simply as the mission can be stated, it's about helping people through golf therapy, whether it's veterans with PTSD or disabilities, children with PTSD or disabilities, or first responders with PTSD and with disabilities. This golf clinic is for you. It is all about using golf to take your mind off things, to have something to look forward to doing. And we are 5 weeks in, and it has been absolutely fantastic. I say we're involved out there with Bay Point Golf Club, but we're just following your lead, Tip. Why don't you, again, for people who have never talked to you before or heard you before, tell a little bit about yourself and then what we've got going on with the clinics.
Well, it's been amazing. It's grown exponentially in 5 weeks already. And we're now where I thought we'd be in about 3 to 6 months. So we started out with just about 3 people, and we're already up plus 30 people. And we tried this about 3 years ago before the hurricane. And then after holidays sold, we moved over to Bay Point here after the hurricane, and I'm grateful that Bay Point picked us up. So basically, I did 24 years in the Air Force. I'm a combat veteran. And
Thank you for your
we
service.
have our host is the Stand Up and Play Foundation.
Yeah.
So we have 20 chapters across the country, and what we do is we do golf therapy for PTSD veterans, and that's what we started with, was PTSD veterans. But then we decided to expand our program out to children with disabilities, and then to fire, police, and EMS. And that's what I really want to touch on is the fire, police, and EMS this morning. Is a lot of the departments don't have funding, or they profess that these departments don't, or the people that work there don't have PTSD, and then they don't have the funding to take care of them. So Charleston, South Carolina, they started a program, and kudos to my buddy Josh Swindle, and he was a fire department individual that worked at the fire department. He got injured, became a paraplegic, and he came up with the program in Charleston and called it the HERO program, which was helping emergency responders overcome. So now we're going to adopt that program here in the Panhandle, but he decided to branch that program out in Charleston, South Carolina, and then bring EMS, fire, and police over to the program where they were originally just doing veterans, combat veterans, and then they brought in children with disabilities. Well, then Josh, being a disabled firefighter himself, brought on the program, the HERO program. So then all of a sudden their program just grew exponentially. So they branched out to the firefighters, police, and EMS. And then that's what we're going to do here in the Panhandle. And I just think it's a brilliant idea. And that'll help us grow as well. And we have a plethora of retired firefighters here in Bay County as well. So that's our next reach out here as well, Ryan and Jay, that we want to branch out to. And Dave Hollenbach, who has been a guest at our program, and we want to bring him on the radio station as well, who wrote a book called Fireproof. He's a retired firefighter and a Navy veteran. He's going to go around to the fire departments here and start reaching out and talking to these guys for us, and then bring them over to the program. So that's something that we're going to try to do over the next few months, and then bring those guys on board.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome to see. I mean, even the last clinic we have, I had Rob is his name, right?
Rob Fry from the DAV.
From the DAV. And a huge shout out to both the DAV and the Veterans Task Force of Northwest Florida, who have donated to the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance thus far, as your organization, Tip, is a nationally registered 501c3. So obviously any donations and that kind of stuff are tax deductible. But if you'd like to help out, volunteer, donate, whatever it may be, just, we have a Facebook page now, for, like you said. But, just to talk about some of the people that have been through the program.
And big kudos to St. Joe, too, for donation.
St. Joe Community Foundation will be donating for another paramobile here, which is pretty awesome. And speaking of the I'm jumping around a lot, but I want to touch on Rob. I had a chance to talk to Rob a little bit more this past week, and Rob's he a combat veteran, and he had like 8 surgeries or something on his knee. Never thought he'd be able to play golf again. Has played golf a little bit in the past. But you had even mentioned something the other week, how when he was leaving his house to come to the clinic, his wife kind of had said something to him and said, "Hey, what's the deal with you?" And he was happy, and he was excited, and he was looking forward to coming to the clinic. And he even said last week, used the words, "This clinic is saving my life." And that's I know that's what's in your heart, and that's what's driving this organization and this clinic. So are you, Scooter. You're doing a great job. But that's the kind of stuff, if it's one person, if it's 100 people, however many people it saves, and we talked about junior golf earlier and how much, a sport, an activity, but it's not just about that. It's the coffee and the conversation that you all do first, and you talk about your stories, and everybody shares. And even one of our members, George McGraw, who was a teaching professional for a long time, is starting to volunteer and help with the clinics. And I know he opened up to you about some stuff that he hasn't maybe ever told anybody. And that's the whole point of this clinic. If you've got PTSD, if you're a veteran, first responder member, maybe come out and hang out with us even if you never played golf before. That's why we're out there. We're trying to help you to learn the game of golf, how to play the game of golf, so that it's something that you can come out and do and escape. And it's been eye-opening for me, and it's been a pleasure feeling your passion and your excitement. And despite how many times you call me in one day, it's always going to be so fantastic. And next week is going to be the ribbon cutting with both the Bay County Chamber of Commerce and the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce at 10:30. So there's going to be a lot of people coming out for that, just to we don't have a physical building. I mean, it's at the golf course, but it's the ribbon cutting for the organization as you've joined both Chamber of Commerces here. So next Tuesday, the 16th at 10:30, we'll have a huge ribbon cutting going on out there at Bay Point Golf Club.
Absolutely. Well, statistically, 22 veterans a day commit suicide, and that number goes up and down. It may be around 17. So, and you'll hear me mention, and as the audience listens, you'll hear me mention veteran. That's in my heart because I'm a veteran. But it's not just about veterans. Again, like we said, children with disabilities, fire, police, and EMS, anyone with a disability. The bottom line is if we can save a life, that's what we're here for. That's our mission.
Period, yeah.
We're here for the camaraderie, the compassion, the brotherhood, the sisterhood of helping save lives and grow the game of golf. That's the other point that we want to make. We're growing the game of golf through this golf therapy, bringing people together out at the golf course, bringing them outside, getting them out of their home, bringing them together and creating that atmosphere and growing the game of golf. It's phenomenal what we're doing. Even what Rob said, getting him outside now and relating him to his grandchildren and bringing him out. And, there's a golf tournament, veterans golf tournament now that he can be involved in November. Those are the exciting things to hear people say. A couple combat vets came out to the clinic over the last few weeks, and to bring them out, and that this outreach is just phenomenal and what we're doing. So it's growing exponentially, and it's just very exciting. So if you know anybody that's sitting around at home that's either a paraplegic, amputee, has any type of disability, or just a veteran in general, or somebody with a disability, just send them our way. Bay Point Golf Course every Tuesday. The clinic is, we have the social in the morning from 8:30 to 9. The clinic goes from 9 to 10. Usually we go to 10:30. And then we've expanded because we're growing so rapidly to Tuesday evenings from 5 to 6. It'll probably go to about 6:30. So we're out there. And the phone number, again, my phone number is 303-882-2443. You can call or email me at Florida Panhandle Golf. It's flpanhandlegolf@gmail.com, and reach out to us and ask me any questions you have about the clinic. And we're always out there for conversation and camaraderie, so that you can come out and join us.
Yeah, and we've got some great teaching professionals as well. Jay, you've been helping out, which has been awesome, and just it's exciting. It's good stuff, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention I got in the paramobile last week to really
that was exciting
to really understand. I haven't taught golf recently here at Bay Point, but I taught my entire career coming up through the business, being a PGA member,
right.
And it's how to teach the swing. Everybody has their own philosophies and all that stuff, but for the most part, it's all the same kind of fundamentals. And when you don't have control of your muscles from your hips down, that completely changes the game in the golf swing. And especially being in the paramobile, like, Earl was talking about trying to get behind the ball and all that stuff. And then I got in the paramobile and tried to hit a few with my driver, and it wasn't placed the club in the correct way to somehow get it out there, which was important for me to understand. So as we work with more people and get more people in the paramobile, we understand as instructors where the limitations are. Because that's I know that's one thing any person you give a lesson to, one of your first things when you're building that rapport is understanding if they have any limitations and stuff like that.
Asking questions and making sure what their limitations exactly. But Tip, I mean, like I've watched your Florida Panhandle, the golf therapy Facebook page. And last Tuesday, you explained about the golf swing and about all the stuff that you're doing and you're feeling in the golf swing. And it's amazing to me. And I just, if you're listening, go follow that Facebook page, Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance. Tip, speaks on it for 3 or 4 minutes about, what he's feeling, in the golf swing. And it's humbling to be a part of it and to watch. And there's 3 words that I always, that come to mind when I see Tip: never give up. That's the 3 words I always are in my mind when I see Tip out at Bay Point. And it's a testimony. And you just got to be a part of it, and it'll change your life.
Yep, that is so well said and so true. I mean, and watching you hit golf balls in that paramobile is pretty darn impressive, especially after I went in and tried to hit some. But what you can do hitting that golf ball, I mean, I'm excited to watch you, win some of these huge national tournaments coming up in the next couple of years.
Oh, thanks. It's exciting.
Yeah.
The whole program's exciting. The exciting part, too, is just to see how well we were adopted right into Bay Point, and the 5 teaching pros, the pros that are involved, and the excitement that came right from the community. The community involvement is phenomenal. How well the community just came in. The involvement from Bay and Walton County and how well people are just jumping in on this program is phenomenal. It just blows my mind. It's so exciting how everybody is just coming together. The Rotaries, the chamber, the community involvement is just overwhelming. It is absolutely overwhelming, and I'm just in awe. It just brings tears to your eyes some days, I'm telling you.
It does.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it's awesome stuff. And this has been your Alabama update, sponsored by Steverson Air Conditioning.
That's it. Coach, you'll love that.
Best one we've had.
Yes, best Alabama update in 2022. So, Tip, you're going to hang out with us for the rest of the show?
Absolutely.
We'll probably talk some more sports here in a little bit, but we'll get back to some of the other stuff. So, again, you're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And anybody complaining in this day and age in passing game football and National Football League, they're shaming themselves. I get into conversations with these young receivers all the time. You're playing flag football. A dude runs off the line of scrimmage and catch a 20-yard pass, and everybody goes, what a great route. What route? He just ran down the field with nobody touching him.
Get off my lawn.
Yes.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings starting at 5 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Friday morning. Changeable skies expected today, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll have some sun, some clouds, a few showers and thunderstorms each day. The high each day, mid to upper 80s, and partly to mostly cloudy overnight. The overnight temperature around 75, chance of a shower or thunderstorm. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs, with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5, and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon, specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
Tiger fans, join us weekday mornings at 8:15. It's the Bay Point Golf Auburn Update on the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle. Hey, Martha, Kenny, James Guatemala. That's my Coach James Hale impression right there for everybody. Welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I am filling in for Coach James Hale as he is on his way somewhere. Who knows? I don't think he'll be here next Friday either. But I am joined, as always, on Friday by Jim Brandt. Jay Henley from Bay Point Golf Club, our teaching professional, has joined us this morning as well. And then also James Tipton, the king of all things Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance.
And Scooter.
And Scooter. We're also joined by Scooter this morning. If
Beautiful
you can see
dog.
on the cameras, she is a beautiful service dog, as sweet as can be. And I know, Tip, she looks after you real well. She wouldn't let anybody cross you. I know that. She's a sweet, sweet girl. But anyway, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about Auburn football. I did do some more research than I normally do before the Coach James Hale show when he's here. But, speaking of coaches kind of quote-unquote on the hot seat, even though it's just year 2 for Brian Harsin, all the things that have transpired, trying to get him in trouble, trying to get him out, all that stuff. I know he and the team is using all of that for motivation. He's had a few press conferences as camp's been going on, and he keeps referring to, the team having a chip on their shoulders day in and day out. And sometimes one of the most powerful things for a football team that may not have the most talent out there is playing with something to prove, staying in the moment, controlling what you can control. And I think Harsin's done a great job kind of embracing all this off-season craziness and using it as motivation for the entire football team.
All right. Yeah, I think they're going to be better. I don't know how many games they're going to win, or will it be good enough to save his job? I mean, who knows? I mean, if you're an Auburn person, you've had some pretty crazy things happen, flying coaches in while the other coach is still coaching and all that kind of silliness. So who knows?
Yeah.
For his sake, I think he's a good coach. I hope they leave him alone and he turns it around and has a good season.
That's what's tough. I mean, just let him do his job. You brought the guy in for a reason. And I like him as a coach. I like his attitude. I like his demeanor. He really seems to have all the players behind him, which sometimes you don't see at big-time programs. But this is going to be a huge year for him. I mean, nobody's really talking about Auburn football too much. They're predicted pretty far down in the SEC West, which sometimes that Auburn, since I've married my wife Beth, who brought me into the Auburn world, as I'm obviously a Chanticleer, as you guys know. But I grew up in the Northeast, so college football really wasn't too big up there. But when I met Beth, I dove in hard on Auburn football because I could have went to Alabama, but I don't want to win all the time. That's not any fun. That's boring. Plus, when you cheat, you cheat. But anyway, so Auburn is the years that you think they're going to be really good, they're not. And the years that you think, it's not going to be a great year.
Really been true.
And it's crazy how true that's been. So this year you're kind of walking that, all right, let's not be too excited. It's probably not going to be that great of a year. Maybe they'll win some important football games.
I say this all the time, and the thing that Auburn has going for them is that they don't fear anyone. They're not afraid of Alabama. They're not afraid of Georgia. They walk in there and say, let's play, Because a lot of teams, in my opinion, when you play Alabama, unless you're just really good, you're already down like 10-0, 14-0, because it's like, man, we're playing Alabama here, you know?
Yep.
And Auburn's not like that. They just, let's go, let's play.
It parallels a little bit to, I equate Tiger Woods and Alabama football a little bit. When Tiger was in his heyday, when he teed off on the first, everybody else in the field, maybe a couple guys, Phil Mickelson and maybe a couple other people knew they could have a chance. But everybody else, Tiger knew he was going to win those tournaments.
Right.
I mean, he was winning so many golf tournaments, and very similar to Alabama, they do have that kind of that mental edge. They know they're better than you. They know they're bigger. They know they're stronger. They know they're faster.
And they know that you know.
And they know that you know, and they expose it. But that's a great point. Auburn, they've been playing in the SEC West for a while and have had this same storyline for so many times, and they've won big football games, and a couple of them have been pretty crazy. I saw, you had the kick six, and then the week before that, you had the prayer in Jordan Hare where Georgia, you should always knock down the ball and not try to make an interception on the last play of the game, but the rest is history. So, but yeah, I'm excited for that. Obviously the first game against Mercer, they got a couple, warm-up games, so to speak, which I think is good that they have, a couple of those to start the season out before that big game against Penn State, the rematch from last year, which, I really think they should have won that football game last year.
They absolutely had a chance to win it.
But, they kind of same thing with LSU and Florida State. If Auburn can beat Penn State and really kind of get that momentum going, get some stuff going, I think they've got a good shot. It's going to be interesting to see what that quarterback battle looks like. If you kind of read between the lines and listen to Harsin talk, I think at this point it's between Zach Calzada and Robbie Ashford, and I think Robbie Ashford may have a little bit of the edge if you really read what
That's
Harson's
James Hale's
talking about.
boy.
Yep. The Hoover boy. He was he in Mr. Football Alabama?
Probably.
But then he went out to Oregon. And then obviously Bo Nix transfers on that last season. He's eligible and goes out to Oregon, and Robbie Ashford comes home. So a lot of high praise from Harsin you see on that, but obviously Calzada's a proven winner. When he had to come in the backup role for Texas A&M, he obviously got hurt. And then TJ Finley, you just kind of hear TJ Finley is still the same old TJ Finley.
Is he taking care of his parking tickets yet?
Yeah, I think he's settled up everything with the Auburn Police Department, so he's all eligible and all that good stuff.
I remember when I saw Auburn play Akron last year. When TJ Finley got in, I said to myself, "That's the biggest quarterback I have ever seen. He's got to be every bit of 6'7".
Yeah.
He's huge.
Well, and I think
he doesn't even look like a quarterback. He's huge.
And I remember in the Alabama game last year, which we won't want to talk about the ending, but he just, when you're that tall, does it make it a little tougher to throw? Because he just looked like he was overthrowing his receivers so much. But anyway, good news on the kicking front is Anders Carlson, little brother of Daniel Carlson, who's now kicking for the Raiders, I believe. He tore his ACL with 3 games in the season last year, and he's on track to start, which will be great. He's currently 3rd in all-time scoring list and 2nd in career field goals made behind his brother Daniel. So that's good news because the Carlson brothers are fantastic kickers, and Anders is a great kicker too. And that having a good kicking game in college could be the difference between losing and winning a game. So that's good news. Oregon transfer Jason Jones. He came over from Oregon. He's a defensive lineman. A lot of people on the football team have been saying that he reminds teammates of Derek Brown, which if that's the case and he's any somewhat shade of Derek Brown, that would be awesome, as Derek Brown was an unbelievable player on the defensive end. And then Jonathan Papo is healthy this year, which is going to be – he came back for his last year. He's a huge linebacker, big guy in that defense. So looking forward to seeing that going. Harsin has also said there's going to be a much more dynamic offense this season, bigger, stronger offensive line, but you're going to see a lot more different stuff going on, which tends me to believe that you're going to see somebody more like a Robbie Ashford out there leading the offense who can both run and throw. And, of course, you can't forget about Tank Bigsby, arguably one of the best running backs in the country. So you're going to see a lot of – if he can stay healthy, if everybody can stay healthy, that's just – he's going to get a lot of touches. So we'll see how healthy he can stay.
Did you see this former Auburn player, Smoke Monday, got hurt?
Oh, that was brutal. I saw that.
I can't remember who he got drafted by or who he signed with.
The Saints, I believe.
But I think he blew his knee. I mean, it was serious. He blew his knee out or something.
I was talking to somebody about that at the golf club the other day. I was like, can you imagine you played in college, you get drafted, you may have a chance to start or get a lot of playing time anyway, and then before in camp you blow out your knee. I know it happens a lot, but hopefully he can come back and keep going, but actually that's brutal. But so yeah, that's kind of the Auburn update. Looking forward to the season getting started here. Again, they open with Mercer, but that big game is the 3rd week against Penn State, and then they move into that SEC schedule, which Auburn always has one of the toughest schedules out there simply because they play in the SEC West, and their crossover game is against Georgia Bulldogs. So
Did they play Georgia this year?
Yeah, every year.
In October, actually.
Yeah, they switched it around a couple years ago, much to James Hale's chagrin, that they moved that game because it always used to be, the 2nd or 3rd week in October, and then they'd have the lesser game, and then they'd play Alabama. Well, that all got switched around, so now they play in October, which I know is in Athens this year, I believe, which is obviously a tough place to play. I went to one game in Athens once with my dad when he was a little bit younger and could walk around a little better. We went to the Auburn-Georgia game. I was probably in 2014 when Liam was born. Mm-hmm. It was the game that Todd Gurley tore his ACL and Nick Chubb came in, and the rest was history.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this guy's better than Gurley.
Nick Chubb's special.
Yep.
Gershel. You had Marshall and Gurley, I think. Yeah. So that was,
But Athens was a cool place. I didn't realize how hilly it was. And
it is.
Beautiful stadium. Fun place to go watch football.
I was there 2 years ago and watched Georgia Notre Dame, and that was unbelievable. That was great.
That had to
be
awesome.
Atmosphere. And anytime you can see Notre Dame play football is great. So that's cool.
Definitely. Well, we'll see what happens with that opening game of the season, but looking forward to getting everything going with some War Eagle action. I know Liam and the kids are excited, but Liam leads tendency to pay more attention to the Niners because Auburn just hasn't been winning as much as he'd like the last couple of years. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to that, and Speaking of them, shout out to Southern Elite Sports real quick before we hit this next break. They've started, that's where you've got basketball and football. Brent Dillard, Joey Capo, Chris Fall, all those guys do a great job with that youth organization. But they've added something new for this fall, which we're going to join in on. They're doing a volleyball for both youth and adult, which is pretty cool. But what's awesome for me is both of my kids can play on the same team because of the age group. So if anybody's looking to get their kid, I know volleyball is huge around here. A lot of travel programs, a lot of middle school and high school success, state champion winners. So nice to see the guys with Southern Elite getting some volleyball going for even younger ages, 7 to 10, and then middle school as well. So shout out to those guys.
Are your youngins soccer people at all?
My son Liam is a huge soccer player. He's actually going to not play soccer this fall for the first time probably in 3 or 4 years, just because trying to get him to play some other sports and keep some stuff going. But yeah, he loves soccer. Not as much as flag football, though. Flag football is definitely his cup of tea.
Good for him.
For sure. So, yeah, so he's enjoying it. But got to thank some of our great sponsors here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got, don't forget about Dr. Chad Mitchell, Southern Orthopedics Associates. I know he specializes in knee, hip, all that good stuff. He's been taking care of our athletes on Bay County sidelines for a long, long time. And, of course, you got Dr. Ward, the big Florida Gator, with all your skin cancer needs. He's got an office. If you're listening, he's got an office near you. If it doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, go get it checked out. You can never find out too soon. Early detection is the key when it comes to skin cancer. So go see one of those guys if you need that. And we will be right back. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's here. The 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app version 2.0. Now featuring ultra high fidelity. You'll feel like you're in the game. Plus more opportunities to win weekly prizes from local businesses when you click it to win it. Download the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app today at Google Play or the Apple Store.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously, but as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Hi, I'm Kevin Shady with KHS & Associates. We represent private insurance providers using multiple nationwide PPO networks for pre-negotiated discounted rates and no copays, no co-insurance, and no deductibles. If you're interested in a quote, give us a call or text 502-386-1128 and provide us your zip code and the ages and gender of those to include. Call or text us at 502-386-1128. That's 502-386-1128.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show.
I'm not prepared. I really am not prepared at all. I hope you won't judge me on one email I sent 10 years ago.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Live from the J. Michael Studio.
Not after spicy or food
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I am joined, as always, on Friday by Jim Brandt. We've had Jay Henley, our teaching professional at Bay Point Golf Club, in the house with us all morning. And then, of course, James Tipton with the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance, partnered with Stand Up and Play Foundation, joining us as well. Tip, if you want to touch on real quick, and then we're going to get into some college division winner picking here in a second. But just want to remind, if anybody's just tuned in to the show, tell a little bit about yourself, the organization, just a little 20,000 feet high level view, and then we got the big ribbon cutting coming up next week.
So real quick, let me start this off with a quote. And maybe it sounds a little comical, but it's from Dr. Seuss. And it says, when something bad happens, you have three choices. You can either let it define you, let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you. And that's kind of part of our philosophy. So, again, like Jay said, to never give up. And that's what we do. So, again, I'm a 24-year Air Force combat veteran, and I was paralyzed within 10 days after I came home from my last combat tour. A lady ran a stop sign, hit me head on, broke my back, and put me in a wheelchair. And I thought at one point I was going to give up. And when I met Anthony Neto at a National Veterans Wheelchair Games, and he had the Paramobile there set up in a booth with a simulator, golf simulator, introduced me to the Paragolfer, changed my life from there. So I got into the Paragolfer, and I was like you the first time getting into the Paragolfer. Yeah. I couldn't swing the club. Yeah. I couldn't figure out how to hit the ball.
It's hard. It is very hard.
Yeah, they schooled me a little bit, and then after that, it was like a month, and then I went to the National Veterans Wheelchair Games, and then I won a gold medal in a 9-hole tournament playing in the Paramobile. And then after that, they sent me to Spain. I went to Mallorca, Spain. Hadn't played golf for 5 or 6 years, and then I placed 18th out of 40 people playing in the Paramobile at the International Wheelchair Golf Open Championship in Mallorca, Spain. So then I came home, and then I told Anthony, I said, this isn't good enough. I need more. He's like, what do you mean? So
You're
then
a golf junkie.
Yeah. So they awarded me another cart, and then it opened up a chapter of the Panhandle, the Panhandle chapter of the Stand Up and Play Foundation. And then from there, that's where we are today with my own nonprofit of the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance. And now we have our clinics at the Bay Point Golf Club. And this is where we're now helping PTSD veterans, children with disabilities, fire, police, and EMS. And again, we're branching out to anyone with PTSD, anyone with disabilities. We don't want to limit it. But when we write for grants and we're asking for donations and things of that nature, it's how we have to write. We could sit and write, and we could write hundreds of pages and broaden this out. But we write it and we say specifically PTSD veterans, children with disabilities, fire, police, and EMS, but it's much more broad than that. So our clinics are over there every Tuesday from 8:30 to 10:30, and then 17:30 to 18:30, 5 p.m. to 6:30. And we welcome everybody to come out. Bring anybody that you can. Bring your friends. Bring anyone. We're open, and we welcome you to come out. So we're over there using golf as therapy for PTSD. Come outside, and we just welcome you. And we're excited to have Bay Point as a partner with us. We're partnering ourselves with the Stand Up and Play Foundation, and we're just excited to be a part of the community here. So thank you again to Bay Point.
Well, and the thing about that cart, too, is, I was up in the Augusta area for a long time, and I know Fort Gordon and Wedges Wood, they had those.
Wedges and Woods, we have half a dozen of them there because that's where we do maintenance on them. And then
when I was there, they just had the carts. I don't know what you call them, the sitting carts, the ones that just you sit in them and they turn and you swing.
Riders,
yeah, the solo riders. But the Paramobile is just so game changing because it's standing you up into almost the correct posture to make a golf swing. So it's allowing you to rep, other than of the things we talked about before, where you're not turning your hips and getting behind it and all that stuff. But you had I forget the gentleman's name. But got up in the cart, and he stood up for the first time in a year or something like that in a couple clinics that we had. Mike. Mike got in the Paramobile for the first time, and he had never even played golf before, and he hit a bunch of chips, and he was the smile on his face, and it was a little tiring for him because it was hot that day, and also he hadn't done that and stood up in a long time. But he's like, I can't wait to get back in it, and that's why the cart is so game changing too, because it's allowing you to hit golf balls, very challengingly, and what you do is extremely impressive. But it's pretty cool to see, people standing up and making golf swings, which is awesome. I was just checking out the Facebook live feed on the Facebook page for ESPN Northwest Florida, and had a gentleman, Ryan Warren, had reached out, said, how do I get in contact with the golf clinic? What's your phone number again, Tip? I know it's 303-882-2443.
The interesting thing about the cart, and you mentioned about being able to stand, is it's not just a golf cart. It was originally designed as an FDA medical device. You can shoot archery, you can shoot air rifle, air pistol, you can stand up and use it to paint in the house. If you have double doors to get it inside, you can use it outside for maintenance. You can drive it on the beach, take it out in the woods. The cart has a lot of versatility that it can be used for, so it's not just for golf. It was originally designed as a medical device. So it's very versatile.
Which is pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
there's only so many available out there, but if anybody, wants to help out, donate, sponsor, volunteer, whatever it may be, like Tip said, just give him a call. His phone number is 303-882-2443. And of course, you can check out the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance Facebook page. And also, you'll see a lot of stuff on our Facebook page as well, Bay Point Golf Club, talking about the foundation and the clinics and all that good stuff. So, Tip, we're just following your lead on this awesome mission you have, and I know Jay is we're very blessed to be a part of what you're doing, and it's just awesome to see this thing grow, and we're looking forward to really seeing how we can get this programming going. We're talking about junior golf program, really start advancing people like Rich does, going through the program and graduating people and all that stuff. So I know we're just at the tip of the iceberg right now, but excited to see how this thing is going to develop. So
if I could throw this out there too, Ryan, I don't want people to get discouraged that we're just here on the beach. Our goal is to grow, and eventually I want to grow from Mobile out to Jacksonville, and it's going to take us a while. I have a friend that's over in Mobile right now, and he's begging me for one of these carts, and we're going to work on getting one over in Mobile, and we're going to grow a clinic there. Mike G. Marassi wants us to bring a couple carts up to Regatta Bay, and we want to grow there, but it's going to take us some time, and we need donations, and these things are nearly $30,000 a piece. So we've got to get funding, we've got to get donations, we've got to get volunteers. I can only stretch myself so thin to get around at these locations, but I don't want other veterans and fire, police, EMS, people that have children with disabilities to get discouraged and go, well, this is only at Bay Point. At this point, you're correct, it is. But we are going to grow. We're going to get across the Panhandle. But my goal is eventually, over the next few years, is to get from Mobile to Jacksonville. And we will grow and we will get there. So just give us some time. But at this point right now, we're just at Bay Point. We will grow to other golf courses here in the Panhandle, but we will get from Mobile to Jacksonville eventually.
And to that point, if anybody's in our listening area that, is a member at a golf club or works at a golf club and you guys want to get involved, the more courses that get involved across this area, the better. The more places for people to get there easily. I know, out there in Pensacola area, and you got the NAS, you've got Eglin Air Force Base, you've got military and veterans and first responders all across the Panhandle. So if anybody knows anybody at golf courses, if you're listening and you want to get involved, just reach out to Tip. I tell you, you won't be disappointed. The more area and opportunity there is for future clinics is going to be the better. The more people that can, be helped through golf therapy.
We actually have two new clinics that are going to be coming in South Florida too. Ty Anderson's moving from Dothan down to Lakeland.
Yeah.
Down just near Orlando, and then there's another gentleman, and I apologize, I'll look up his name here in a minute and let you know. But there's going to be two new clinics down in South Florida, so they're coming up really soon too.
Perfect.
Well, and the USGA is doing the adaptive championship, and I think that speaks highly as far as where this is going. And everybody needs goals in life, and we talked the other night, Tip, about what your goal is, and going to Pinehurst and competing. And you're not competing against others. You're competing against, like yourself, your goals and stuff. So I think the USGA is really starting to see where this is all going. And I think the timing on this is just unbelievable.
It is awesome. Yeah, we're getting ready to develop a seated golfers association. Yeah, we're just about to do a seated golfers association here. It's in its infancy stages now, and along with what you just said, with the U.S. Disabled Golf Association coming up, there's several different associations that are coming about right now. And we just had the Open. The U.S. Open happened. Then the United States Disabled Golf Tournament happened. 96 golfers from around the world were there for the inaugural tournament. Next year will be the second. I will be there. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm going to place pretty high in that tournament.
There you go.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to win that thing.
Absolutely. So,
but they just announced too that they put a bid in to add golf into the 2028 Paralympics.
Paralympics, absolutely.
Yeah, which there's a goal.
Wow.
Future gold medalist right here with us.
There you go.
You got that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're looking forward to that.
If we could get some pros over there to teach me, right at Bay Point. How about that? No, I'm just kidding. We've got some great leadership over there at Bay Point.
We're making your game worse, probably.
No.
But, I know we got a break coming up here shortly. When we come back, we will finish with we'll pick who we think our division winners are going to be in each of the Power 5 conferences. I got them here right in front of me.
Go Maryland.
The Terps.
Maryland.
Go Wildcats.
Coach can't pronounce the quarterback's name at Maryland. Is it Talia?
He would have
Tua's little
punched me in the
brother.
back of the head if he heard me say Maryland today.
Nah, he
Tua's little brother.
Tua's little brother.
Tula's little brother. Tula's
Absolutely.
little brother.
Of course, we want to thank some of our great sponsors here on this. Looks like it's trying to come out and be a little sunnier out there for maybe some golf later today. But, we've got Blue Sky Express Car Wash right there by Arnold High School, right across from Lowe's next to Home Depot. Just fantastic car wash, one of the best in the area. As your car comes out showroom ready. It's also a family business. Everybody there is smiling, having a good time. So go see them over there. And of course, Ethan at Rudy's Barbecue. He does a lot, gets involved in a lot of the charity tournaments that we do. I'm sure Ethan he's going to help us out with something in the future for the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Lines. But he's an avid golfer. Texas A&M Aggie, they do so much to help out the community. And of course, their turkey is just absolutely fantastic out there. It is so good if you've never had it. And then it's Friday at J. Michael's as we sit here in the J. Michael's studio. It is Chris Fish on Fridays. Go see them out there. Coldest beer on the beach over there at 3210 Thomas Drive. That's how long I've been doing the show, as I know the address of J. Michael's from sitting with Coach so many times. But we'll be right back. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is the Panhandle's destination for the Atlanta Braves.
Got him swinging strike three.
Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves are back.
Unbelievable.
And hungry for more. Listen to the world champion Atlanta Braves on a world champion radio station.
Rosario knocked the living daylights out of it.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Friday morning. Changeable skies expected today, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll have some sun, some clouds, a few showers and thunderstorms each day. The high each day, mid to upper 80s, and partly to mostly cloudy overnight. The overnight temperature around 75, chance of a shower or thunderstorm. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Great design is timeless, and that's why Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves offers a stunning selection of vintage, antique, estate jewelry on sale now at 40% off. Exquisite Victorian rings, Art Deco diamond brooches, Georgian and Art Deco bracelets, earrings, and pendants. These one-of-a-kind pieces add personality to any ensemble, and now at 40% off. Find your timeless treasure at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Parlor Donuts, Lone Star Boil House, PCB E-Foils, Point South Marina Bay Point, and the Corradino Group.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Do you know who I am?
If he was the last person on Earth,
I'm kind of a big deal.
mankind would still have a chance.
We may have to repopulate the Earth.
Now back to the Coach James Hale Show.
I'm very important.
Live from the J. Michael Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Oh, perfect intro song for this last segment of this Friday, the Caddyshack theme song. What a great movie
Dank
that
Varmints.
is. Yeah. That's funny.
That's an awesome movie.
We get the occasional mole out there on the golf course, and I was talking to one of our members the other day.
Get the greens, get Carl out there, man.
Ironically, we have a guy on our maintenance crew.
We do.
And his name is Carl, and he's the one that handles the
License to kill gophers.
Yeah, you cannot make that up.
You
Now, we're
can't.
not using any TNT or anything like that, but he is in charge of gopher control.
Okay, what do you use? Because I got the little sons of...
They are. The best thing to use is a midnight shotgun trying to get them to pop up. But you've seen the worms, you've seen the traps, all that good stuff. We got a caller?
You sure do.
All right. Who we got out there?
Gold Blue Trucks.
Michigan Eddie. You only got one Buckeye in the studio today, so you don't have to worry about a whole lot. But how are you doing?
Well, it's a downpour over here in nice Tucky.
Quit hitting your phone.
Stop that, Eddie.
You're on the phone, brother.
I'm not hitting my phone.
Somebody was.
No butt.
Anyway, keep going. Keep going.
Oh. No, I just want to say it's raining over here. It's good to hear you guys. I have a golf question this morning.
There you go.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I do. Hopefully we can answer it.
Hopefully you can. So the youth camp, Little Henley, she loves golf. Every time we go to Myrtle Beach, we play and all that. Of course, that's your neck of the woods, Chanticleer, Ryan.
Go, Sean.
I was just curious. Do the youngsters need to have golf clubs, or do you have youth golf clubs they can use if they join up for the youth camp or the youth clinic on Tuesdays and Saturdays? Good question.
I'm gonna let Jay answer that question.
Yeah, we do actually. Yeah, we do. We have some sets. Now how old's your little girl?
She's gonna be 10 on Monday.
Oh, cool. Okay, awesome. A Leo birthday. I like it. Same here. So, great.
Yeah.
So, right-handed, left-handed?
She's right-handed, and she takes after Deanna. You know, Deanna was a golfer back in the day.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
So,
That's
they call
probably
my
good.
wife the little. They call her the little Nancy Lopez. She won't say nothing about that, but I will, 'cause I'm her husband, and I'll brag on her.
There you go. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the cool things is we're a U.S. Kids authorized dealer as well. And what I love about, when I came up playing junior golf, you had the metal shafts cut down. They all weighed, 20 pounds apiece. And, my first set was a ladies set, and I was finally able to swing it because they were always so heavy. But nowadays, U.S. Kids does a fantastic job with these junior sets. They're, 3 clubs, 5 clubs, 7 clubs, but they do it off of height. And what's really cool is you measure it, because that's how you get fitted into golf clubs. It's all about your wrist height to the ground, and it has really nothing to do with your age, obviously, because kids can be different heights all over the place. But we do have U.S. Kids clubs. We are an authorized dealer. We can fit your kids, and you come out and you get a set that's fit perfect to them. And that's the key with golf, is making sure that you've got the right clubs fitted for you. But U.S. Kids also has a great trade-in program as well. So with having a 7 and a 10-year-old right now, I bought a few sets for both of them. And you can trade in your clubs for future value for purchase.
Idea.
Yeah, because it's like shoes. You buy shoes for a kid,
They
you need a
grow
new
out of
pair
them.
in 6 months, and you go broke buying shoes. And golf's not cheap, but U.S. Kids does a pretty good job making it. But it comes with a bag, comes with the sets and all that stuff. So it's a great opportunity for kids. If they're going to continue it and be serious. But.
Or you can volunteer and trade, or or bring those to our clinic for our.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
That's a perfect.
Exactly. And Michigan Eddie, I don't know if you've been listening to the show and hearing about TIP and everything we got going on with the Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance. But I know, you're a military veteran yourself, and have Air Force, I believe, as well, right?
Yep, I've been hearing everything, and thank you, Ryan. Bay Point has always supported the veterans. Like, you support Jinxie's brother in Folds of Honor.
Jinx.
and all that. Noonan and Folds of Honor and all that. Now you're helping the golf therapy sessions and all that. That's great. I might be needing that, with my newly found government-granted medical condition that I have. So I might be out there on a Saturday, not Tuesday, because I'm working. I'm actually going out to one of our pilots having their Finney if the weather holds up, which right now it's crap. So he's having his F-22 Finney flight this morning.
Nice.
So
yeah, you need to come out.
Patriot, all that. Yeah, I might. You never know. I live right across the street, eh?
Exactly. Exactly. And I would expect you to come out in all your Michigan gear. So.
Oh, I will, or my Air Force Academy gear, or my Liberty gear.
There you go.
Or my USC gear.
Your USC Buford, right?
Yeah, and then my Liberty gear because of Deanna. So I got 4 schools now.
You sound like me.
As of now.
As of now, yes. Well, and to your point too about girl golf, there's tons of unused scholarships that go unused every year for female golfers.
That's right.
Whether it's
Preach
Division
it, Ryan.
2, Division
That's
3,
right.
whatever it may be. There's so many opportunities. If you've got a young lady or a young girl coming up and you want to get them involved, 1, in a great game, but 2, have an opportunity, to have their college paid for, is there is a lot of opportunity out there. And, it starts with lessons. It starts with teaching them the game of golf, developing them. Golf is development, and there's so many stages of it. But yeah, we've talked about it a million times on this show, how many unused golf scholarships there are for girls out there. So if you're looking to get involved, juniors, come out and see us at Bay Point Golf Club. We've got tons of stuff going on for juniors.
Yes. And there's so much young female talent out there too.
Yeah, there is.
Hey, Ryan, do you remember the Savage twin girls out of Indiana?
Yeah.
One went to UGA, one went to Missouri. Well, I grew up down the street from their cousin. So I knew Roddy, their dad, who kicked at Central Michigan. And then my buddy's dad, Drago, they're from Serbia. And I grew up with them and with their family. So it's a small world. But I guess she's on the Golf Channel now or something.
Yeah.
And all that. So anyway.
Yeah. Is that Paige?
But,
is that Paige, Ron?
I don't think so.
No, oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're connected to everybody though, Eddie.
You're the man.
No, I'm not.
It's your world. We're just living in it.
Hey,
Jim Bob Cooter. Can I say something about college football real quick?
Yes,
real quick?
please.
All right. Okay. Love golf. Getting into it. But football, awesome. Hey, all of this maritime before those Catholics are coming to the Big Ten. If NBC jumps on board that trifecta TV deal with CBS and Fox, Notre Dame is all but in the Big Ten. What say you, Jim Bob Cooter?
Bring them on. To me, it doesn't matter. It makes a lot of sense. It's always made a lot of sense. I mean, they're from the Midwest. They have natural rivalries with everybody in the Big Ten. You know, I never understood why they went to the ACC. I mean, they got nothing in common with any of them people. That's just my opinion.
And they're on the border with Michigan. And how good would that be, Jim Bob Cooter, Coach, if we could just beat the crap out of them year after year? I'll root for the Buckeyes on that game every year. Every year.
That's like when Michigan plays Notre Dame. I don't know who to root for. I pray for a tie. I mean, it's like I'm the same way.
Oh, come on. Come on, Jim Bob
That's not
Cooter.
right. I'm with you, Eddie.
But seriously, I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I'm not afraid of them at all. I'm really not.
No, I ain't either.
Bring them on. Let it makes.
They're overrated.
Yeah.
They're overrated.
To
bro.
me, it makes a lot of sense for them to do that.
Well, with that TV deal, I mean, if that all happens, what does that leave the SEC with? ESPN?
Yeah, I guess.
And then you got the trifecta for the Big Ten. It's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out for sure. So who's going to, since we got you on the phone, Eddie, who's going to win the two divisions in the Big Ten? Who's going to win the East? Who's going to win the West? Let's hear it.
It's going to be the game winner out of the East. Penn State's overrated. Michigan State, bunch of cow tippers, whatever. Well, 1 year wonder. They'll take a couple years to get their recruits good. Then I think it's going to be between. I think Whiskey's going to come up on top. I think it's between the top three here: Whiskey, Northwestern, and Iowa. But I think Whiskey's going to come up on top.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota. They'll have a couple good games and all that, but then they'll fall flat like they did last year. What say you, Jim Bob Cooter?
I think Wisconsin will be the team to beat in the West. In the East, I'm like you. I'm an Ohio State guy, but I'm also realistic. It could be a Michigan. I mean, it could happen. I don't think it will, but it could. I think it's going to be Ohio State or Michigan in the East and Wisconsin in the West. That's kind of how I see it.
I love your show, man, on Friday.
No Alabama today.
Fridays and Mondays.
No, I got too much other stuff I got going on. And plus, Coach Hale doesn't pay me enough to come in here.
We're a family, man. We help each other out. Like Eddie's gonna go see Dr. Mitchell at 0900 to get cleared to play baseball and football. I mean, we help each other out, man. It's just a family, man. 5 years already. It's unbelievable, man. Thank you guys for everything. I gotta go through the gate. Go Blue Truck City. Bring the F-22s back to Tyndall Mayor. Done. Do what you gotta do. It makes sense. Bring your money back to Bay County. I'm out. Go Air Force. Beat Navy and beat Army. See ya. Safe Navy. I'm out.
You think there's too much Starbucks in his life?
He ain't going to Starbucks. That's Black Rifle coffee right there. I guarantee it. We got 1 minute left on this beautiful Friday show. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you all coming in and hanging out and getting through this Friday show. I think maybe we'll do it one more time next Friday. I don't think Coach will be back yet. Cool. So, again, we like to thank all our sponsors for the show. Tip, thanks for coming in. Jay, thanks for coming in. Jim, thanks for always being here on Friday. Check us out, Florida Panhandle Golf Therapy Alliance, the Facebook page, Bay Point Golf Club. See how you can get involved in that. You've got Blue Sky Express Car Wash. You got Rudy's. You got J. Michaels, South Oak Title, Paparazzi Gourmet Deli, Dat Cajun Place, Chad Mitchell, Dr. Ward, and then, of course, Bay Point Golf Club. Come see us tonight. We got live music from 5 to 8 p.m. on the back patio with Brady Hughes. Enjoy your weekend. Got some more preseason games going on. It's been a pleasure hosting the show this Friday. Thank you for listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying with ESPN Northwest Florida. Please return to your seats, buckle up, and prepare for launch.